Divine feminine. Have you ever felt like someone's energy was quietly orbiting yours? Not in an obvious way, just subtle. A name you hear here and there, a memory that flickers in and out, like something unfinished circling just outside your awareness. And then, without effort, without force, the universe lines up the moment. You turn a corner, and suddenly, they're standing there like they've always been meant to be. It feels like you've waited for this, doesn't it? But not in the way that aches or begs, more like a quiet knowing. A soul-level readiness you couldn't name until now. And even though this meeting feels expected, it still catches your breath, like the universe just whispered, now. Hello, soul family. Welcome to Spiritual Manifestation. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, I'm glad to have you home. I just want to take a moment to say how grateful I am that you're here, because the energy that's already coming through feels powerful. And I can tell this message is meant for someone who truly needs it today. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. If you feel called to go deeper, the extended readings and extra guidance are always available on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we get into the longer, more personal layers of these messages, and it's a beautiful space to connect on a deeper level. And while you're here, don't forget to support the channel by liking this video, leaving a comment below, and sharing this reading with someone who may need to hear it. Your energy in this community makes such a difference, and I love reading your thoughts and reflections. Now, let's go ahead and shuffle the deck together. Spirit, we ask you to guide us in this moment, to bring through the clearest and most aligned messages for those listening. As I set the energy for this reading, I can already feel the cards beginning to stir, and I know something important is ready to come through. All right, Divine Feminine. The very first card that Spirit is bringing forward in this reading is the Star. And as soon as I saw this card, I heard one thing so clearly. Your energy is healing someone just by existing in your natural light. Let's talk about it. There's someone here who's been quietly orbiting around your energy. You may not have noticed at first, or maybe you've just been feeling that tug in your spirit lately. That sense that someone is noticing you in a way that feels deeper than just appearances. It's not about how you look when you're dressed up, when everything's perfect, or when you're trying to impress. This person is actually most drawn to you when you're not trying at all. I'm getting that they adore you most in your natural essence. Like when your guard is down, when your spirit is soft and open, when you're in that state of just being, even if it's messy, even if it's quiet, even if you're not doing anything at all. They find something about that energy so magnetic, so honest, so rare. And here's what's wild. When you step into that place of surrender, where you're just flowing with life and not trying to force anything, that's when this connection starts to spark again. That's when paths cross, even unexpectedly. And you may have noticed this before without even realizing it. Like when you're deep in your own world, taking care of yourself, minding your peace, that's when they seem to show up. Whether it's in real life, online, or even in a dream. Because this isn't just physical, it's deeply energetic. There's something spiritual about the way this connection works. It doesn't move with logic. It doesn't follow a schedule. It aligns when you're aligned. It reveals itself when you're at ease. And that's because this person, whoever they are, doesn't just love who you are. They love who you are when you're free, when you're not shrinking or adjusting or dimming anything about yourself. They are watching you from a distance, maybe even admiring you without knowing exactly why. But deep down, they are being pulled toward you, not because of effort, but because of essence. And no matter how much time goes by, something about your energy sticks with them. Like a light they can always see, even if they're far away. And Spirit is saying, this connection isn't one that needs fixing. It doesn't need chasing. It doesn't even need constant talking. It's a soul recognition, a pull that happens when you're both just living your lives and doing the healing you need to do. And even if your paths haven't quite touched yet in the physical, or if they have and things have gone quiet, it doesn't change the fact that the connection is alive. Quiet doesn't mean gone. Distance doesn't mean done. There's a string between your hearts that doesn't snap just because of silence. This person feels your presence the most when you're grounded in yourself. It's like they tune into your energy when you're doing the little things that make you feel whole. Watering your plants, journaling, listening to music, laughing with friends, resting when you need it. They may not consciously know why they suddenly think of you in those moments, but it's your light reaching them. That's how strong your field is. You're not just a memory in their mind, you're a feeling they can't shake. And here's what I feel so strongly. You don't have to do anything extra to be remembered. You're already unforgettable. You don't have to fight to stay in someone's life when your energy speaks louder than any words ever could. This person may have pulled back. They may be figuring things out in their own space, but they haven't forgotten you. And truthfully, they couldn't if they tried. Your essence is woven into their awakening. You're teaching them something without even trying. You're showing them that real connection doesn't come from control. It comes from presence. You're showing them that love doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It can be quiet, it can be peaceful, it can exist in the in-between moments when you're simply being yourself and letting the universe guide the rest. Your energy is the reminder that alignment always finds its way back, without force, without chasing, without fear. So if you've been wondering whether they still feel you, they do. If you've been questioning whether your light still matters to them, it does. And if you've been feeling like you've been doing nothing, Divine Feminine, please know you're doing everything. You're holding space for love to find its way, not through control, but through truth. And that is the power of your presence. You are the star for a reason. Divine Feminine, the star card is reminding you that your natural light is enough. You don't need to chase. You don't need to perform. You don't need to become anything other than what you already are. This person is waking up to the truth of your energy, not because you tried to make them, but because Spirit is letting your light reach them in ways only the soul can understand. Let's see what else is coming through. All right, Divine Feminine, the second card Spirit is guiding us into is the Moon. And as soon as this card came through, I heard something almost whispered in the background. We look like strangers, but we're not. There's someone in your energetic field who may not be fully present in your physical life. Or maybe you've crossed paths, but haven't had the chance to go deep with them yet. From the outside, it might seem like there's distance, unfamiliarity, even silence. But under the surface, something much more profound is unfolding. Spirit is showing me that this is a soul-level connection, something ancient, something mirrored. This person doesn't just recognize you, they feel you. They feel something in your energy that reflects them back to themselves. And that's what's so powerful about this bond. Because when you show up in your most true, unfiltered essence, it's like looking into a spiritual mirror. They see the version of themselves they've been trying to remember, the version they maybe forgot how to access. And that's why your presence, especially when you're in your natural core frequency, is so magnetic to them. It's not a performance they're drawn to. It's your truth. You've likely noticed, Divine Feminine, that the more you soften into yourself, the more this connection begins to align. And it doesn't happen in a loud, dramatic way. It's subtle, it's slow, it's sacred. That's the magic of the moon. It shows us what's hidden, what we sense before we fully understand. This person is being pulled toward your light, not because you're shining for attention, but because you're glowing with peace. Now here's the deeper layer. You are a natural manifester. Your energy is strong, alive, enchanting. In the past, you may have used that power intentionally, shaping how you show up in a room, shifting your energy to attract what you desire, tapping into 4D manifestation tools like affirmations, scripting, timelines. And for a while, it worked. But Spirit is saying, that era is closing. You're entering a new frequency now. You're no longer here to force alignment. You're here to live in it. That means some people may no longer see you, not because you've dimmed, but because they were only ever drawn to the surface, to the projection, to the energetic roles you used to play. And now that you're simply being, no roles, no masks, they can't reach you anymore. But others, like this person, they're finally beginning to feel you, the real you, the version that doesn't need to shift or adjust to be worthy of love. And that's what makes this connection so different. You don't have to try with them. You don't have to impress, attract, perform, or prove. They are drawn to your presence when you're resting, when you're breathing, when you're letting yourself be. And Spirit is saying, that's the reflection they've been looking for all along. This connection feels like it's being guided by something deeper than choice. It's not just about feelings or attraction. It's about recognition. A part of this person knows you, even if they can't explain why. They may question it. They may try to push it aside or rationalize it away. But your energy keeps showing up like a soft echo in their life. Not loud, not overwhelming, just quietly present. Like a memory they can't place but can't forget either. And I feel like this is also teaching you something. It's teaching you that you no longer have to overextend to be loved. You don't need to mold yourself into something else just to be chosen. Because real love, soul-aligned love, doesn't ask you to shapeshift. It asks you to be seen, fully, softly, honestly. And that's what's happening here. This person is being shown that your truth is your beauty, that your stillness holds more power than any performance. They're not just watching your glow, they're remembering theirs through you. And that's why this energy feels so layered, because it's not just about romance or longing. It's about awakening. You are waking something up in them that goes beyond attraction. You're helping them remember the version of themselves that feels real, whole, unmasked. And whether they've told you or not, they feel that shift deep in their spirit. So, Divine Feminine, if you've ever wondered whether your soft presence is enough, this is your confirmation. It is. The moon is showing you that even in moments of stillness, even in silence, your energy is working, it's clearing, it's aligning. You're not here to chase anything. You're here to receive everything that already belongs to your truth. And this person, they're beginning to feel that too. So if you've been feeling invisible to the wrong things lately, take heart. It's not rejection, it's redirection. You're becoming visible to what's actually meant for you. Love that flows, connection that grounds, people who see you, not just your shine. And in this moonlit energy, everything false falls away, and everything true rises to meet you. Let's see what card Spirit wants to bring through next. Let's move into the third card Spirit is bringing through, and this time it's the Two of Cups. As soon as this card came forward, I heard, the alignment isn't forced, it's felt. And that's exactly the heart of what's coming through here. This connection you're experiencing, whether it's someone you've met in passing, someone you dream about, or someone who lingers in your thoughts, it's not just about emotional intensity. It's about energetic harmony. And what makes it so rare, so powerful, is that it doesn't respond to effort the way other connections have in the past. In fact, the more you try to manifest this person using the tools that once worked for you, visualizations, affirmations, energetic projection, the more they seem to slip out of reach. And that's not because the connection is fading. It's because it's not meant to be pushed. It's meant to be received. Spirit is showing me this strange dance of magnetism and repulsion. One moment, the connection feels like it's circling close. The next, it feels distant, even unreachable. And the truth is, this push-pull isn't a reflection of their disinterest. It's a reflection of your own state of being. Because Divine Feminine, when you relax into yourself, when you let go of timelines, expectations, and even the desire to be seen, that's when your energy becomes a clear channel. And that's when they feel you most. There's a kind of energetic mapping happening between you and this person. Imagine two maps that overlay, but only when you're standing still. Not chasing, not reaching, not performing, just being. When you drop into your essence, that's when the maps align. That's when timelines converge. That's when Spirit says, now. And that's why this connection can feel so unpredictable. It doesn't respond to planning. It responds to presence. And I can feel this question in your heart. But is it mutual? Divine Feminine, yes, it is. Spirit is making it so clear that this connection lives in both of you. But what's hard is that you've been conditioned to believe that when someone doesn't show up the way you expect, or when the energy feels off, it must mean they don't care. But this is different. The timelines where you connect in harmony only activate when you are in harmony with you. That's the key. You don't need to make them see you. You need to keep seeing yourself. And here's the twist. You've spent so much of your life having to perform, to be noticed, to be loved, to be chosen. But this connection, it honors your rest. It worships your ease. This person is magnetized to your relaxed state. Not the performance, not the projection, not the high energy version of you trying to do manifestation. They feel the depth of your presence when you're not trying at all. And that may feel backward. It may even feel frustrating. But it's sacred. because it means you're entering a space where love finds you when you're fully you. I'm also hearing this is not a linear love story. The timing of it will make no sense until it does. You may meet them, feel them, drift apart, reconnect again, and feel it all over like a wave crashing over you. And that's okay, because every wave brings you closer to the shoreline of your own truth. It's not about chasing the connection. It's about anchoring your energy so that when they come close, there's something steady for them to land in. And here's something else that Spirit keeps repeating. This person doesn't need you to do anything for them to feel the connection. They don't need a signal or a message or a perfectly timed post. They don't need a performance. What touches them the most, what stays with them long after they've left the room, is the feeling of your energy when you're just being. When you're reading your favorite book, sitting in stillness, sipping tea with no one watching, that's when your frequency sings. That's when their soul leans in. It's not what you do, it's who you are when you're at peace with yourself. And Divine Feminine, I know that can feel uncomfortable because you've been taught that love is something you earn by doing, that attention is given to the loudest spark, that presence must be proved. But Spirit is saying, in this sacred connection, your stillness is your signal, your softness is your magnet. This person isn't looking for the version of you who's reaching. They're waiting for the version of you who's resting. There's also this beautiful message coming through about sacred timing. You may feel like this person shows up, disappears, and reappears like a tide that never quite settles. And that can feel confusing. It can even stir up feelings of rejection or uncertainty. But Spirit is reminding you, this is a connection that unfolds in seasons, not all at once. There are phases of silence that aren't meant to break you. They're meant to build you. Because with each return, something new is revealed, something more aligned, something more real. And let's speak to that question that sometimes lingers late at night. Why do I feel them so deeply, even when they're not around? It's because your souls have already touched beyond this lifetime. It's because there is a thread connecting you that can't be seen, but it can be felt. And when you're living in alignment with your own soul, when you're honoring your rhythm, your truth, your path, that thread hums with life. It doesn't fade, it vibrates. And so, even when you're not together in the physical, you're still walking beside each other in the unseen. So if it's been quiet, Divine Feminine, if the energy has felt distant or strange or unfamiliar, don't take it as a sign to push harder. Take it as a sign to soften deeper. Let your life unfold without performance. Let your joy come without control. Let love return to you by the laws of grace, not by the rules of effort, because what's meant for you already knows the way. And this person, whether they know it yet or not, is following that map too. Before we pull the next card, I just want to pause for a moment and check in with you. How has this been resonating with you so far? If something in these first 3 cards has already spoken to your heart, let me know in the comments. I love reading how these messages meet you right where you are. All right, let's go ahead and see what Spirit has for us as we pull the next card. Divine Feminine, this time it's Temperance. The moment this card came forward, I heard the words, divine timing is not denial, it's design. And Divine Feminine, I know that might hit something tender in you, because when it comes to this connection, It's not that you haven't felt it. It's not that you haven't believed in it. It's that you've been asking yourself, if the pull is this strong, why haven't things moved? And Spirit is answering with so much clarity. It's not because something's gone wrong. It's because this connection holds a deeper role in both your lives, and that means it's being orchestrated with extreme care. You're not just bumping into this person by chance. You're being positioned, both of you, by something much higher. And what's so beautiful about temperance showing up here is that it speaks to the spiritual precision involved. Your guides, their guides, they're not asleep at the wheel. In fact, they're fully present in the timing, the silence, the pauses, and the sparks. Sometimes it may feel like you're being blocked from reaching them. Like no matter how open your heart is, how ready your energy feels, something just doesn't quite land. Maybe the messages don't go through, the meetings don't happen, the conversation doesn't deepen, and that can hurt. But Divine Feminine, it's not because they don't care. It's because this connection is too important to be rushed. You see, if this were just another fleeting romance, it would have moved already. But because it's soul deep, it's being nurtured in layers, slowly, intentionally, sacredly. And Spirit is showing me this image of an hourglass, but the sand isn't falling through the middle yet. It's suspended, like time is being held in place. And I'm being told that the reason for that is because you both are still stepping into the versions of yourselves who can truly hold this love. It's not about proving you're ready. It's about trusting that when the sand begins to fall again, it will create the exact moment for union, one that neither of you could force, but both of you will recognize. Now here's where things get interesting. Spirit is pulling in a second thread of energy here, and this won't be for everyone, but for a few of you, it's going to hit home in a very personal way. There's someone here in your energy, a person who holds a certain kind of power, influence, or visibility. They might be known for what they do, maybe even widely recognized. And what's fascinating is, when your energy first brushed up against theirs, you didn't recognize them as a celebrity or someone to admire. You weren't drawn to their status. You weren't a fan. In fact, before the connection clicked, you might not have even known who they were. What drew you in was something much more subtle, much more psychic. It was a frequency you felt, a whisper in your soul that said, "There's something here." And when you finally saw or heard them, maybe in a video, online, or in a random moment, it wasn't infatuation. It was recognition. You knew this energy. You had felt it before. And that's when the synchronicities began. The dreams, the signs, the number patterns, the sensations. Not because you were chasing it, but because it was already connected. You just hadn't seen the source until then. I'm also picking up that your spiritual makeup, your chart, your path, your energetic codes aligns with theirs in a very unique way. You might have similar life path numbers, shared elements in your astrology, or complementary traits that mirror each other's evolution. But again, this wasn't something you were searching for. It found you. And Divine Feminine, that is the marker of a soul contract, not a fantasy. This connection may not make sense on paper. It may defy logic. It may even feel confusing because it didn't arise from traditional attraction. It came through soul frequency. And because of that, It's being guided with exceptional timing. This isn't about rushing toward them. It's about trusting that the link you feel is real and that it's not your job to control the outcome. It's your role to hold the energy, to stay in alignment, to keep your heart open but your hands soft. So if things have felt still, if nothing seems to be moving, if you've questioned whether this is all in your head, let Temperance remind you. Spirit is not late. Spirit is precise. And this love, this connection, whatever it may become, is not an accident. It's a part of something bigger than both of you. Let's see what Spirit wants to show us next. Divine Feminine. Spirit is bringing forward the Six of Cups. And wow, the energy here is incredibly layered. This card is all about soul memory, emotional familiarity, and that deeply spiritual recognition that transcends the current timeline. And Divine Feminine, that's exactly what's coming through in this message. You've met someone whose soul is not new to yours. This connection likely began in the most unexpected of ways. Maybe it wasn't even romantic at first. It could have started with a feeling, a dream, a moment where your energy brushed theirs, and something within you stirred, something ancient. And what's so fascinating is that many of you began dreaming of this person before you even knew who they were in the physical. Like your soul recognized theirs long before your mind could place it. And once that realization clicked, once your conscious mind finally connected the dots and identified who this energy was attached to, that's when the dreams, the signs, and the frequency of their presence in your energy field intensified. Spirit is showing me that this person is walking a very parallel path to yours. Even if your lives look vastly different on the surface, different countries, careers, environments, there's a mirroring beneath it all. You've both endured eerily similar life experiences, emotional initiations, and spiritual awakenings. And you didn't go looking for these similarities. They were shown to you. Somehow, without even trying, you came across their stories, perspectives, or interviews, and you realized, wait, I've lived through that too. There's this uncanny sequence of events that align between the two of you, as if Spirit wanted you to see how closely your paths echo each other's. What makes this even more sacred is how unattached you are to their outer reality. Divine Feminine, you are not someone who chases titles or status. You aren't easily starstruck. And that's because your soul has been there. In many lifetimes, you held high positions, whether in royalty, leadership, or spiritual influence. So fame, fortune, and material success don't impress you. In fact, they don't even faze you. That's not arrogance, it's ancientness. You've evolved past the illusion that outer recognition equals inner worth. And for some of you, you may already hold a quiet influence in your own world. Maybe you're known for your wisdom, your creativity, or your leadership, even if it's not visible on a global scale. For others, your soul might have chosen a more hidden path in this life, not out of lack, but because your evolution is happening in the unseen. Either way, your value system isn't built on surface recognition. That's why when you first saw this person, who likely does hold some form of public visibility, you didn't see their fame. You saw their frequency. And that's rare. Now here's where things become beautifully complicated. You're aware that if there were ever to be a meeting or deepening of this connection in the physical, it would have to be organic, unforced, divinely timed, and certainly not initiated through any kind of reaching out. Because although you feel this soul-level link, you also know the realities of their world. You know they've likely encountered many people who approach them with agendas, people who want proximity to their power, their wealth, or their name. And even though you're not that person, you understand that you could be easily misperceived as one. That awareness is what's kept you still, quiet, respectful of the energetic boundary between you. Not out of fear, but out of discernment. You know your role isn't to pursue, it's to hold. And so what's been unfolding instead is this powerful, subtle connection that exists in the ethers. You may not speak, you may not know each other personally, but you're reinforcing each other energetically, spiritually, soulfully. You may find yourselves in dream space together, talking, resting, exchanging energy like old friends after a long day. Or you may simply feel their presence when you're going through something difficult, like their higher self is wrapping around you to say, "I've got you." And the same is true in reverse. You may not know it, but your soul is a source of comfort for them too. There's this silent support system that exists between you. Not loud, not public, not even spoken, but real. It's almost as if your souls agreed to incarnate at the same time in different worlds, simply to remind each other that they're not walking alone. You are part of the same soul family. And that shared frequency creates a kind of unspoken safety between you. Of course, there are barriers, logistical ones, emotional ones, and most of all, karmic ones. But even still, the connection holds. Because this isn't about chasing a love story. This is about honoring a soul bond, one that doesn't need constant proof or physical validation to be felt. It just is. Let's see where Spirit wants to guide us next, Divine Feminine. The final card Spirit is revealing to close this reading is the Ace of Pentacles. And this is such a beautiful, grounded energy to end on. Because after all the spiritual reinforcement, dream connections, and energetic orbiting we've seen in this spread, this card is saying something real is about to take root. And Divine Feminine, this feels like the moment where all the divine timing you've surrendered to begins to translate into something tangible. This isn't about chasing, proving, or even manifesting in the traditional sense. This is about what naturally unfolds when two people have been spiritually orbiting, soul preparing, and silently aligning, and then finally cross paths in the physical. I'm picking up on a very serendipitous connection here. It's like the two of you have been circling the same energetic space for what feels like lifetimes. Maybe you've had mutual friends, overlapping interests, or lived parallel lives without ever knowing it. And maybe, just maybe, you've both felt that quiet anticipation building in the background. Like, I don't know what's coming, but I can feel it getting closer. Spirit is showing me this moment like two planets slowly rotating in perfect orbit, destined to meet at one precise intersection. And Divine Feminine, that intersection feels close. For some of you, this may have just happened. For others, it's right around the corner. Either way, this is the card that says, yes, this is real, and it's coming into form. But what makes this so powerful is the inner preparation that's been happening on both sides. You've both been quietly evolving, shedding old timelines, completing soul contracts, healing wounds that once blocked your heart. And all of that work, it wasn't just for your growth. It was making space for this, for something real, aligned, and deeply fertile to begin. The Ace of Pentacles isn't just about beginnings, it's about worthy beginnings. Seeds that are ready to grow because the soil is finally rich enough to hold them. That's why this card feels so important here. Because even though you may have imagined this connection or received signs about it before, it wasn't fully ready until now. You weren't just waiting on them. Spirit was waiting on both of you to be in the right inner alignment. And now, Divine Feminine, you may feel a strange mixture of calm and surprise when this moment arrives. It's like, of course it's happening, and yet I can't believe it's actually here. There might even be a brief flicker of hesitation, a question like, am I really ready? But let me affirm for you, yes, you are. You've done the healing. You've honored the process. And this person, they've been preparing too, even if they didn't always realize it. This isn't the kind of connection you chase. It's the kind that finds you when you're already full, when you're already whole, when you're not trying to fill a void, but instead, you're simply living in alignment, peace, and purpose. And from that place, this connection clicks into place, not because it completes you, but because it complements the wholeness you already embody. So, let this card be your confirmation. Yes, you're not imagining things. Yes, the energetic thread you felt is real. And yes, something is shifting into form. Let it come to you, Divine Feminine. Let it meet you in your light. Let it be easy. Let it be sacred. And most of all, let it begin. Okay, this feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. What we've seen here is a reminder that your energy is powerful, your journey is guided, and Spirit is always working in ways you may not fully see yet. Trust that what is meant for you will always find its way, and you don't need to chase. Just allow yourself to stay aligned and open. If you feel called to dive deeper, the exclusive and extended version of our readings are available right now on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we really expand on these messages and explore the layers that Spirit couldn't fit into this space. Also, don't forget to check out the community posts and today's energy reading updates. I love connecting with you there and hearing how these messages meet you in your own journey. Drop your comments below, share your personal requests, and let me know how this reading spoke to you. And if you'd like to keep the energy flowing, I've linked some other videos here that I know will guide and encourage you. I'll see you in the next reading. Bye for now.